Welcome, everybody, to the Patriot Pravda podcast. This is our second episode. I was a little hot there. I'm going to turn myself down a bit. But today on the show, we are going to be going over our current building of the United States IRS Army, along with the Mar-a-Lago shenanigans from the FBI, people in Mexico, U.S. citizens in Mexico, that is. And then, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have 0% inflation right now.
That's incredible.
It is. That's the lowest inflation ever.
Well, I'm one of the hosts, Robert Shepard.
And I'm Luke Garland.
Welcome to Patriot Pravda.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to me in a voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet. He called my name when my heart stood still, when he said, man, go do my will, go tell that long-tongued lie.
So, where do you want to start?
Well, there's a lot to go over today, but why don't we look into what's going on in Mar-a-Lago with that warrant? Apparently that was unsealed.
Yes, the warrant was unsealed for the whole Mar-a-Lago thing, and it turns out that some of the charges are that the former president, President Trump, was accused of breaking part of the Espionage Act because he mishandled some classified and secret documents. At least that's what they're saying.
It's an alleged.
Yes, it's a very much an alleged. So they said he mishandled classified information. The thing about that is the president has the magical power to declassify, classify and or declassify top secret or secret information at his will.
And did he do that?
He's claiming he did. His lawyers say that he did.
Okay.
But
this is obvious, just a way to keep him from running again in 2024.
Right. And as long as they can bring charges against him, they can potentially do that.
Yeah.
So, but they can't bring charges that they don't actually have anything for.
Right.
And it was crazy because at first they were like, oh, the president, President Biden has nothing to do with this. They don't know. Merrick Garland has nothing to do with this. He had no idea. And this was just the FBI acting on their own. It was that darn Christopher Wray, the FBI director. He kind of went on his own and did this thing. But then after that, they said, no, this was actually a court-ordered thing. And, they had like a thing signed by the judge to go check it out. And then a couple days later after that, Merrick Garland came out and he said, no, actually, I did approve this. This is a me thing. And I signed off on this. So he's like, because I think his quote was like, oh, I'm not going to stand by and watch, my fellow, patriots in arms or FBI or whatever he said, get accused of wrongdoing when they're
acting on my orders, essentially.
Yeah. Which is dumb because, the warrant was to get any type of documentation between, like any presidential documentation between basically the date that president entered office until the date that he left office. So it's like, so everything, even though Merrick Garland said, oh, this was for a prosecution for a very narrow scope, and that it had, and there were some alleged things that came out in Newsweek and the Washington Post saying that, it was about nuclear codes and nuclear weapons type stuff.
something tells me that that's just a shot in the dark and a load of BS.
Yeah,
because a president like Trump would not just be waving those things around or taking them to his private, domicile.
right.
And on top of that, even if he did, that would have been detected. Those codes would have been changed.
And they do get changed on the regular.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem is that he had been in cooperation with the FBI, because they've been, ever since he got out, they've been asking him for certain types of paperwork. And National Archives was also involved in this tangle up. And, they said, maybe they weren't storing things properly. And so they sent FBI agents there to ensure that things were stored properly. And then they asked, okay, is this good enough? FBI said, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's stored properly. It's secure. FBI put the lock on it. Like, they literally put the lock on it and said everything's secured fine. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's being accused of taking all this stuff, without permission. And now they have to collect everything back. And the warrant was just for the paperwork, which is crazy because they knew where the paperwork was at Mar-a-Lago because they had been there already.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew what was there. Now, when they went and did this raid...
Do you think maybe there was a plant? Somebody planted something in there?
I think there's a potentiality of that because
maybe
what
early
happened...
on when he was leaving office or when they were double-checking it or something like that, they just slipped something in there. And now the time is right. We're getting close to that, time to start campaigning for president. And now it's like, okay, pull it back out.
Yeah, and there's a potentiality of that, and also I think there's a potential that they planted, they may have planted something else while they were there doing this raid at Mar-a-Lago, because the issue is they were supposed to just go in there for the documents. What they did do is that they went all over Mar-a-Lago. They didn't just go to where they knew the documents were, to the room where they knew the documents were, but they went all over Mar-a-Lago. They went into his wife's closet.
I heard about that.
They went through her clothes. They went into his personal office that had nothing to do with president stuff. They broke into his safe. They went everywhere. And before they went everywhere, they kicked everybody out of Mar-a-Lago that was working there. Like all the butlers, all the workers, everybody. They kicked everybody out, and they told them to shut off the camera system when they left.
Interesting. Doesn't that seem a little sketchy?
Yeah.
Seem a little suspicious.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it is they've opened up this warrant, and they've shown that there's a warrant, but there's something very important as far as warrants go that is missing, that they haven't been able to show, and the FBI hasn't shared any of this with Trump's lawyers, Trump's team, and it's not been released to the public, and that's the affidavit. The affidavit that gives them the ability to get the warrant. Currently, there's no proof of an affidavit. They don't know what's on the affidavit. I mean, essentially, there should be an affidavit since there was a warrant, and the judge signed off on the warrant, but now there's not. They don't know.
Yeah, where the initial request, essentially...
Yeah, the initial request that says we think that all this is happening, and this is why we're seeking this warrant to go into this place and search and try to find these things. And as of right now, they've not released any information on the affidavit. There's nothing. It's a ghost affidavit right now.
So has President Trump made any comments about this?
Yeah,
other than his innocence.
Yeah, I mean, there's several comments that he made. I don't have any of them off the top of my head. I mean, he broke the story of them raiding Mar-a-Lago. But yeah, that's the story so far. It's a lot of shenanigans, if you ask me.
It is, and we'll keep you all updated as to what happens with that.
Yeah, I don't think we could even trust the FBI anymore. And in fact, a lot of people, and actually, don't hate me for this, but I responded to Liz Cheney on Twitter today because she had one on this thing about how she can't believe that people in her own party are attacking the FBI this way. And, she thought we used to stand for something, and we stood up for the police, and we stood up for this and that, and no, what's wrong? And I just said, Liz, you're lost in the sauce. And I hashtag lost in the sauce, Liz. So I don't know if that caught any traction, but,
Well, it's just further proof that the federal agencies, the Justice Department, FBI, CIA, have all been weaponized against the citizens of the United States, to include a prior U.S. president. And I'm pretty sure that President Obama has had some shady business that the FBI could probably look into if they really wanted to. Maybe even George Bush, Senior, Junior, Bill Clinton.
Yeah, and we don't even have to dig into those people that have seemingly no issues. The Hunter Biden.
Exactly. Yeah, the current president's son. Yeah,
the dude. There's video, and just stuff, video and pictures.
But the laptop was a hoax.
No, it actually wasn't. Now,
no,
people government officials have gotten their hands on it, and they said that the laptop was not a hoax.
Good.
It's 100% true.
So charges pending?
No. I mean, I think there are some charges pending for Hunter on some other things.
Are we going to do this after the election?
I'm sure after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
We're too busy chasing after other things. You know, white supremacy, parents at teacher conferences, things like that.
The Betsy Ross flag.
Betsy Ross flag. Yeah, that's got to stop the Betsy Ross flag.
That's right. Well, we're on the hit list.
Yeah.
Because that's our...
it's our show logo.
That's our logo. Yeah, maybe eventually we'll get some T-shirts, hats made up, and we'll maybe give them away. Maybe we'll have some call-ins and comments and whatever we like the best. Mm-hmm. We'll send you something.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. That's on a bucket list of ours.
Yeah, definitely.
But speaking of President Biden, so about this inflation that we got going on.
Yeah.
So he said something to the effect of, "There's no inflation."
Yes. So that's the crazy thing is, because I really thought we were in a recession, but I was proven wrong again.
Did you hear about them changing the definition? It's like the recession is classified as 2 consecutive quarters with a negative GDP growth.
Yeah.
But now it's like no, it's not that. It's this, that, and the other thing. But there's countless examples of them quoting 2 quarters of negative GDP growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then all of a sudden now it's shrunk. And I'm pretty sure I went and I looked it up, and even a definition online has somewhat changed now. We'll just classify a recession. And
yeah, what I got right now, it says a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced and generally identified in GDP in 2 successive quarters, a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. So as of right now, the Google Dictionary says, well, this is actually the Oxford Language Dictionary.
Yeah, I've got it on Investopedia.com. A recession is a significant, widespread, and prolonged downturn in economic activity. Because recessions often last 6 months or more, one popular rule of thumb is that 2 consecutive quarters of decline in a country's gross domestic product, or GDP, constitute a recession.
Yes.
But you heard the White House spokesperson.
Yeah, Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, the black lesbian.
Yes.
Yeah. State it as, well, there's more to it than that. It's, a little more nuanced. I mean, the outright lies that come out of the press room in that.
I'm surprised she actually gave an answer on that, because she typically doesn't. She typically has no comment.
Yeah, no comment.
At least it's not Circleback Saki, though. So
yeah, Circleback Saki.
We're done with her.
Jen Circleback Saki. Yeah, good riddance. But I don't know if we got anything better. Probably about the same, if not worse. But speaking of that inflation, how there is none. But yet I came across a political cartoon today that I'll describe to the audience.